Okay, we want to apologize. We had some technical difficulties and lost the link to the webinar that we had promoted. We have sent out an emergency link, and hopefully you'll find that in your email and join us back here in a few minutes. And again, we apologize for this technical difficulty. And we may also reschedule the event for another night later this week. And I do apologize. So we're talking about Finish Line Planner, and you can text in your questions. So let's go back through real quick and remind people. Text in your questions at 651-894-4681. We'll try to get to them tonight. If we don't, we will follow up after the webinar. No questions will be left behind. All right. So we'll start our presentation here. Welcome to Church Growth with Finish Line Planner. It's our goal to help save you time and make progress, to customize your church growth plan. So we're not going to tell you how to do church growth. We'll give you some suggestions, but everything you do in Finish Line Planner is customizable. The purpose is to build reliable and consistent processes for your church growth cycle. Okay, so a number of people who registered sent in some questions and some goals of what they wanted to achieve in the webinar tonight. So let's address those needs and questions for those that are watching. Finish Line Planner is a system for organizing steps in church growth processes. Okay, so what is a process? A process could be a Sunday school contest. A process could be visitor follow-up. A process can be convert discipleship. A process could be organizing your Christmas program. A process could be organizing your Easter program, organizing a praise in the park day, organizing leadership training. So any of these processes can be organized in Finish Line Planner. A process consists of steps. So if you're doing a community outreach program, you probably have steps for designing the flyer, for printing the flyer, for organizing the team that will be going out. You might have processes for somebody to fix lunch for the group. You might have processes in place to collect the cards of information that you received from going door to door and sending them a letter. So those are steps in the processes for community outreach. So your church will want to figure out which process is most important to you in the growth cycle at this time. Then you want to know, well, what's the steps that we need to do to fulfill that process? You want these steps to be organized in a way that you can repeat the process, because Finish Line Planner will remember that process and allow you to reuse and reuse and reuse it without having to rebuild it every time. Each of these steps that you put into the process, there are three things you want to know. What are they doing in that step? Who will be doing that step? And when will that step need to be done? So if you're printing flyers for outreach, obviously those flyers need to be printed ahead of time. And so you want to know when. So now everybody is in sync and they're doing what they need to do at the right time. So the overall process is optimized, the workload is shared, and each person's only doing a couple things maybe at the most at any given day. So nobody's like overloaded with the whole process because of the workload being shared and automated, and you know that people are all in sync. And as an administrator or pastor, you can look at the clipboard and actually see that the progress is being made, or if there's an issue or something being held behind, and you're able to address it immediately and quickly, and saves you some aisle meetings and chasing people down about what they are doing in those processes. So some of those processes, again, is building relationships, doing outreach, inviting folks, doing follow-up, discipleship, and leadership are the main ones that we think of. These processes, again, are customized because the size of your church, the culture of your church, the culture of your community, the style of your ministry, and they're done your way. Now, the team that are assigned these steps in the processes will get texts to remind them on the days that they need to do their task, and they can text back their status. So having this update of status of how things are coming or not coming or what the issues are, and having that consolidated, and as a minister with a very busy schedule, you can just set aside your 10 minutes a day to look at the clipboard and see how things are coming, and not be overwhelmed having to run and chase things around. So one of the requests that came in is that we're looking for an easy way to assign and follow up on task. And obviously, it's very much what Finish Line Planner does. Those tasks, the processes, okay? We have sample processes for you. So as a busy administrator or pastor, you don't have to invent everything from scratch, okay? Now, I'm just talking right now. We're going to demo this in a minute, so hang in with me. So you can borrow processes from our library, pre-built, customize them, so take away things that you wouldn't do, add things that you want to do. Then you can save them as a model yourself and reuse them time and time again. Then the follow-up on the task are very easy because your members are being texted their task and they can text back the status. And they're only being texted the task that they need to be working on today. So somebody who's pretty faithful may get a task 2 or 3 times a week, be able to complete it anytime during the day or later on, update the status of where they're at, and move on. It's not very complicated once they learn the few commands on how to talk with the texting system. Another item is I have been successful when I see people living for God and not just coming to church. And this is very key with Finish Line Planner. The number one thing a pastor can do to grow his church is have volunteers, recruiting volunteers. We make that easy in Finish Line Planner because we're only asking people to do 1 or 2 tasks every so often. You're not kind of overloading them with work. But once they become a volunteer and they get involved and they see the fruit of their effort and they get confident, their burden grows. And involvement grows the burden. And as the burden grows, they will become more than just sitting on the pew. Now, they just get started in Finish Line Planner, which is some simple things to do. But just getting involved plants that seed and grows that burden and will move them beyond just sitting on the pew. Another one was they're looking for a tool that organizes and helps us keep up with the fast-paced world. Yeah, so once you have your processes in place, right, you have a visitor, you pull that process out, fill in information about the name. People automatically start getting their texts when the time is right, and 1-week follow-up, 2-week follow-up, 3-week follow-up, etc. They do their few items. Nobody's being overburdened. And the next time there's another visitor, pull out the same process, put the information about that person, and it's up and running quickly. So it works really well in a fast-paced world. So the volunteers are getting their reminders, they're updating their statuses, and you're busy. And as far as developing your original models, your original plans, you can use those that we have pre-built in our library. Somebody's looking for a guidance in the most effective methods. Okay, so we'll go over a little bit some of those pre-built plans that we have. Some of them is an outreach campaign that we actually used a few years ago in a startup, where we got 1 in every 16 doors to sign up for a Bible study. It's pretty effective. When you reach 1 in 16 doors, that actually was 1 every 7 minutes. Everybody who went on outreach that day got somebody to sign up for a Bible study. That group was so confident they could walk over anything. Another one is where our follow-up program that we have that Reverend Dan Kyle built for us is designed around the departments of the church and in engaging your new members or visitors into those departments. And what's so significant about that is that what's so significant about that is that the visitor chances of coming back and revisiting again is higher, and the visitor sticks when they're invited into groups in your church, and we have a plan for that. Another one is we have Carlton Coon's discipleship program, and give me a minute here, and I actually will show you some of these programs. Brother Coon's discipleship program. Brother Coon has told me that he's lost every convert he's ever had that never went through a discipleship program. And that's significant, realizing that you lose 100% of your converts if you don't have a good discipleship program. And so we'll show you some of those here. I just logged into Finish Line Planner. I'm going to the models page. And our models library is this bottom part here. So if you go through here, this here is Brother Carlton Coon's new convert follow-up program, which is a whole year's plan. And it's very, very thorough, has a lot in it. If you're in a smaller church, you probably want to cut back on it and make it a little thinner. Average sized church, this is a great program of all kinds of things to do in discipleship and engaging that convert and get them established in your church. Okay, up here we have a series of follow-ups. So we got follow-up couple, follow-up family, follow-up single dad, follow-up single man, follow-up single mom, follow-up single woman. These are from Brother Dan Kyle, West Palm Beach, Florida. And this is what I was talking about, the stickiness of your visitors. So when you have a visitor, if you have the different departments of your church that are appropriate for that visitor, and that's why there's different follow-up plans here, get invited and engaged into those groups. It gives it a stickiness. It gets the visitor to come back. The visitor's needs are being met. And the workload of following up on your visitors is actually shared depending on what kind of visitors you have, if they're a couple or a single man, etc. And then the outreach campaign is our community outreach. It will help you organize your door-to-door campaigns using the techniques that we did to get 1 in 16 homes since you signed up for a Bible study. Another item was they're looking for ease of use and effectiveness. Well, with the model library in place, the Atlas app, the texting system, and the one-page clipboard for viewing the status, it's pretty easy to use, and it's effective because the reliability of people being reminded, the consistency of the same steps taking place for the processes that are repeated are very high. Another one is interested in maintaining focus and structure as we grow, and definitely having your customized plans. Everybody know what to do when there's a visitor. Everybody know what to do when there's an event. Everybody know what to do in an outreach campaign. It's huge. And so you will want to do that. Okay. Now, I think I didn't share the screen, and I apologize for that. So I'll just go back really quick over this here for you. I was talking and not sharing it. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is the models library in Finish Line Planner. Down here is our library. Here's our community outreach program I talked about. Here are the follow-up couples, follow-up family, follow-up dad, single man, single mom, single woman. And here's Brother Carlton Coon's convert follow-up. And as you see, we also have additional plans and stuff that you can use there. A church plant. One of our signups was looking for a church plant and how they can use Finish Line Planner. For Finish Line Planner, for setting up this webinar, excuse me for the disaster we had when the computer crashed. I have about 50 steps that I go through to set up this webinar, and I do it over a month's time. And I only have 1 or 2 steps to do per day. Now, all the steps for setting up this webinar are all assigned to me. But being able to track the few steps day by day makes it so much easier to get the webinar up and running. And not having to worry about the last day and getting a lot of work on my shoulders. So as a church plant, you would start by developing process and steps and all the steps for yourself, just to kind of balance out the workflow and things that you need to do, like follow up with visitors. Now, as you start bringing people into church and you start engaging them in roles and trying to mentor them, you can start offloading now some of those steps to them and share the work with them. And as more and more people come to church and more people mature and are growing, the more work you can offload to them. And you refined the process when you were doing it yourself. And so now you know how the process is working, you've trained in people, and they're automatically following through with their steps in those processes. So it's a good thing to start as a church plant and do the models yourself and then share that work. Okay, so let's get on with our actual demo. Okay. I need to log out, and we'll log back in for the demo here. All right, put our models. All right, so the use case here on our first demo is our follow-up. We're going to do the follow-up family model here. We've had a new visitor. You may want to do this the first time you have a visitor, or you may want to do it the third time they come, or you may want to do the follow-up when they're a convert. That's up to your church and your culture when you want to initiate this follow-up process. The convert is now, the convert or the visitor is now in a new world, your church, and they're strangers, right? And everybody's nice and shook their hand and greeted them, but they haven't figured out how this church works and how they belong and stuff like that. And the longer you wait to respond to the follow-up situation, the likely chance of losing them, number one. And number two, there's a lot to introduce them to. So you kind of want to space it out and for the follow-up and do a one bite at a time. And as you can see here, we do have multiple follow-up plans. So different families and situations have different needs. A family has different needs than a couple, than a single dad, than a single man, et cetera, and so on. And by engaging your departments, you also are going to be sharing the workload. So that's the use case. You want them to feel welcome in your church, and you want to not overburden anybody with a lot of work. So we will install this follow-up family. So I'm going to hit the install button. And when I do, notice now this model shows up under My Models. Okay, so I don't have every model in the library inside of My Models because that would make the operation a lot more complicated and stepping on things. So let's go to plans now. We're going to create a plan. And I'm going to create a new plan. I'm going to add a plan. I'm going to choose my model, the follow-up family model. And notice there's only one model. I don't have the whole list what's in the library. That's why we have My Model separate from the model library, so don't have a real long list here. And then this is going to be the James Joan family. And they came the 22nd of January. And I'm going to create the follow-up plan. Okay, so here is the plan. Notice January the 22nd. So I've got a task out here for February the 20th, for March the 27th. Finish Line Planner will calculate these dates from this one. So when you type in the date that the family you want to start the follow-up process, these will be calculated out. In this particular bucket, we've got two steps: introduce them to the ladies club and invite them to the ladies club. Now this is a family, so we're talking about the wife. And they have this, Brother Kyle's church has a ladies book club. We also have a men's ministry because it's a family, so there's a man involved. Introduce them to the men's ministry, invite them. Again, notice the dates are out in the future. Then they have a marriage ministry, and they have time for that, for introducing and inviting them. And then Sunday school, they meet with the family, and they ask them about how they can serve them in Sunday school, and then they follow up with how they're experiencing Sunday school. So they got 3 dates there. Ladies ministry, welcome to the church. They invite them to a ladies meeting, invite them to a second ladies meeting. And deeper life classes. So they have initial call, an orientation class, and then a foundation class. And then the prayer group informs them about the prayer times. And all these things are spaced out, and the workload is shared. And now the family understands all the components of the church that they can be part of. So once I've got this plan, I've got what we're doing and when. I need to assign the who. Okay. So we will put Linda Lady on this assignment. Okay, notice they turned white when I answered what we're doing, who we're doing, and when we're doing it. The blocks turn white. And here for the men's ministry, there's Mike Manley. Here for the marriage ministry, we have, who did I put in there? A lovely couple. There we go, lovely couple. Sunday school. Here's same Sunday. Now, like the Sunday school, these don't all have to be the same person. I think it's kind of neat. The same person is touching base with them each time. It could be assigned by different people. Ladies ministry is Linda Lady. And then deeper life class. We have outreach director Joe, outreach. And then the prayer group, we have Pam, prayer warrior. So now all these are assigned. Okay. Now I'm going to go out to the clipboard. And because should come up. Yeah, okay. Because this is a new convert, all the tasks are currently in the future. Notice there's 0 for today. If I go to the future tab, we can look ahead. And here are the tasks ready to go. So when Joe Outreach does his job, he can show on the status bar progress, 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%. When it's 100%, he marks it finished. Okay. So notice just in the color coding, as a pastor, you can scan this clipboard and kind of see things happening, right? The white are scheduled, the yellow are in progress. Put this one into progress, but all of a sudden I got an issue. I'm going to mark it as blocked. When a pastor sees a red one, that means there's an issue. This person wasn't able to do what they did, they missed it, or they need help or whatever. Now you can call Joe Outreach up and say, Joe, hey, what's going on? Why'd you, can I help you overcome whatever your problem is? And so that's how you update the status from the clipboard here. Of course, now I'm looking in the future. They will be looking at today. They wouldn't see as many blocks. And when people log in, they will only see their own blocks. They won't see everybody's unless you elevate them to a manager level. Let's go back to plans and let's look at our family program. And let's say your church doesn't do the ladies book club, right? So I can delete these tasks and delete the bucket for ladies book club. Okay. I just now customized this plan to the way my church does it. Go back to the plans. With the start, by the way, this green here is showing the percentage accomplished. So you can quickly see how the processes are working percentage-wise. So the star here is going to create a model. And I'm going to make this the first church family here. Follow up program. All right. Model. So now I'm going to go back to my models. I have two models. I have Brother Dan Kyle's follow-up family model, and I have my customized one for First Church. So I can delete Brother Dan Kyle's model. Okay, now go back to plans, and I got a new person I need to follow up with. Now I'm going to choose the First Church Family Follow-Up Program, and this time it's the Sam Smith family. And I'm going to go backwards here and say they were on the 8th of January. Create. Okay. And so now notice there's no book club. Also notice these are all white. Okay. So once I assign people to the task and make my plan into my own personal model, it remembers the assignees. So as soon as I pull this plan back out, people are automatically assigned. Now, when you use the model from the library, we don't know who's on your team, and they don't have who's doing it. But once you saved a model, it will remember the who. Now, notice lovely couple is married ministry. Notice Sam Sunday School, the Sunday School director. If the Sunday School director changed to somebody else, it's Bob Smith is now the Sunday School director. The next time you create your plans, it will say Bob Smith in here because it remembers the person, or not the person, it remembers the role, okay? And it just puts the name of the current person in that role. And when you do your training on Finish Line Planner, you'll learn about the team, under the team situation here. And these are team members, and we can go in and edit. And here's you can assign their role. And that role is who gets assigned to the task, not by the name, by the role. So that it can remember that person. So now, we have a problem with these families. All we have is their name. We don't have detailed data on them, okay? So what we can do is we can go in, and with this little clipboard here, I can choose for a document from Dropbox. Now, I previously in my Dropbox file documents in, and so we'll do the same family here. We have attached that. I also can add a note. Sam does not like to drink pop. Now notice I've got the Dropbox document attached. That's what that symbol's telling me. It's there. I can open up the document. I can open it up in the word processor. It was James Jones. That was the winner. Obviously, he's a male. Married, yes. I could fill out this information. And now when I reopen it, information should be there. There it is. Create your own detailed documents. Now, with the current version of Finish Line Planner, documents are attached to task. We are moving the attached documents to the process. So you only have to attach it once for the whole Sam Smith family process. But in the current version, you will actually need to attach that document to each task that needs that information. Okay, so we'd have to go through each task and do that. Currently, hopefully in a few months, you won't have to do that, just do it once, and it's good for the whole process. So that's how we would do the family follow-up. All right. No questions yet, and I do apologize for the link disconnection from the computer crash. But the next thing we want to look at is the convert follow-up. Okay, so down here's a convert follow-up program from Carlton Kuhn. I'm going to install that. I'm going to go to my plans. I say I've got convert follow-up and First Church family follow-up. Convert follow-up. This is Bob Jones. And we're going to put Bob Jones on for here. Okay. So in the convert follow-up plan, this is the first week activities: a telephone call, counselor meeting, a welcome letter, validate that they've had a Bible study, send a letter to the spiritual parent who brought them to church, present a baptism certificate, schedule to welcome them on a Sunday, sign them up for the take root class. Then the pastor is going to send a series of letters out. Now notice these dates again. This date drives these dates. And this is a whole year's worth of activity. So there's 12 letters for the pastor for each month. So December, January, late January, early February, late February, March, early March, late March, early April, late April, early May, late May, say early May, mid-May, I guess, and late May. So it turns out. So it's a couple of weeks each for these letters from the pastor. Then we have the find service role. So about 6 months in, they're meeting with the convert and finding some job for them in the church. So they have identity and ownership in their church. Newcomer fellowship invites. These are quarterly meetings, dinners, or fellowship time at the pastor's home once a quarter for the 4 quarters following their convert. And then fellowship families. This is approximately once a month. Ends up in this calculation that it did an early and late July one, but there are 12 families in your church that you will assign each month to either have the convert over for dinner or take them out to dinner and have that fellowship time. So this is a very comprehensive plan, a lot bigger than the follow-up ones from Brother Dan Kyle, and definitely this is really good for discipleship and when they're a convert. And I kind of like Brother Dan Kyle's follow-up kind of for a serious visitor who may have come 2 or 3 times, and making sure that they're getting integrated in the church and being invited to those groups. Okay, let's move on. And now let's take a look at, and by the way, for those who got the handout, these extra demos that we're doing in between pages 1 and 2, and we'll catch up with page 2 here in a minute. So now, let's see, where's the hosted events? Hosted community event. A hosted community event's like a Christmas program, Easter program, a special concert. It's an event that you're hosting at your church, okay? Not out in the park or out in the public. This is at your church. So we'll install that. We just got an error, excuse me. We will install that again. That one is not installing. And I apologize for that. I will follow up, and this is a brand new event, and I thought I had tested it before, but we will get that corrected. But let me explain that hosted event. Okay, so you've got announcements, you've got you're getting the auditorium ready, you've got practices, and then you even have follow-up, right, for people that come to that event. And you want to make sure that the follow-up part is engaged. And that's what the hosted community event will do for you as soon as we get that bug fixed. Okay, so be patient with me here as we switch screens. All right. And okay, we're going to switch. Computer, work with me. Switch the screen now to our slide presentation. Okay, here we are. Okay. So we just did a demo, a finish line planner, and we're going to do a little bit more a demo with that in a minute. The 3 keys to every growing church, we'll cover that in our agenda. This is on the top or middle of page 1 of your handout. We're going to go over the 2 types of growth projects, the basic growth cycle, the desired attributes of volunteers. We did our demo. Now I want to talk to you about the Atlas app. The Atlas app is our phone text messaging system. Reason it's called an Atlas app is there's no app to be installed on the phone. all the interaction with Finish Line Planner is done through texting. Okay, so as you see here on the screen, this is a sample of what happens in the morning. Each church can set the time that they want this text to go out, but it does go out at the same time for everybody in the church. And future versions will make it customizable for each person, can have their own time set. Excuse me. So this one's a pretty heavy one. We've got 7 tasks on it. Most of the time, your members should probably not see more than 2 or 3 at a day time, unless it's something they haven't finished and they need to follow up with the next day. So they'll receive this list, and it'll get numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's the reminder, say, hey, don't forget today to do this task, because if you do it, it will be a great help. Okay, if you type in the help command, once you receive this text, you will get a list here of the different commands. And just quickly, we'll touch base on some of these. Today is the task you should do today. Future are the next 20 tasks in the future that we saw in the future tab we saw earlier. In is started. When you see the number or letter in, it's the number, right? So let's go back. You see these numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the in, another number. Okay, so you would say 1 is started if 1 was started, or 3 is started, whichever one it is. Finish works the same way. So you can say 4 is finished. All right. Remember, we had the little dot we dragged across the task to show 25, 50, 75, 100% done. Started is 25% and finished is 100%. You can also say in the number is either 0, 25, 50, 75, or 100% done. It's another option. All right. And you can actually drill in and find more information about the task. You can block the task whenever it turns red. You can do the number and say it's blocked, and that will make it turn red. You can look at the notes in the task. And the attached document that we did from Dropbox, you can actually get access to those files by doing the number and files, and it will list out the files for you, and you can click the files. So here's the information for a task, and it's telling us that there are 3 files and there are 3 notes. That's when you do the info command. So like 3 space info would get us this list with the details. Okay, so here's an example of notes. The person, the date, and what the note was. And you see a series of notes. This is what happens when you type in files. So you do the number and files. In this case, it was 6 files and 6 notes. You're looking for the ONFL link, okay? So here it says guide.pdf. That is my texting system assuming that's a link, and that's not. The link is the ONF link. And when you click on that, that will open up the document for you on your phone. And if your phone has the editor, you can actually edit the document. Okay, we just got a question in. Is it possible to get plans from different churches and place them in the library for us to access? One of the future features is going to be a share, where you can actually share people by email. You can share plans. All right. In the meantime, all you need to do is email me, text me, or call me, and have agreement between the 2 organizations, and I can copy the plans across for you. Also, hopefully in the near future, we're going to be opening up a Facebook group, and where people can share ideas of what they're doing in the Finish Line Planner, and hopefully use that then to request exchanges, and we'll all do the exchanges for you in the meantime until we can get that feature actually in the application. And as we find churches that really come up with some really sharp and good plans, we're going to ask for permission and bring those plans into our library. A very, very exciting one's coming up in a couple months. We're going to come up with, and excuse me for detouring from the Apples app here to answer this question, but we're very excited. In a couple months, we're going to come up with a plan known as 7x7. Okay, 7x7 plan is a relationship building campaign, and it's a postcard. And the postcard has information on it, challenging your saints to pray over God leading them to 7 people in their lives, either family, friends, neighbors, or coworkers, or people they do business with. And they write down those 7 names. And then on the postcard, it gives an illustration and instructions of 7 steps to take their friends through. Okay? And these are 7 steps that they build a relationship with them before they invite them to church. Simple as, greeting and meeting, asking about their needs, take them to dinner, ask them about their life story, ask them about their experience with church, share your testimony with them. Okay? So it is taking, instead of a cold invite, a sudden invite to church, you're building a relationship so that these people are getting ready to be invited and they appreciate the relationship that they have with you. And so, so that's the card, and the person can track that. Now, you encourage the people to take the 7x7 card, and it's the right size to fit in their Bible. But when you do your prayer request at church, in church service, you will ask people to pull out their cards and put it between their hands. And as you're praying over your prayer requests, also let's pray for these 7 people that you are building relationships with. So it's always in front of them. They're always being reminded about it. And you always have extra cards around so people forget or new people come along, they can join in the 7x7 program. And then as your relationships are being built 3 or 4 months in, this is a year-long campaign, you do what's called a 7 event. And that's where the event is welcoming to visitors. It's a Christmas program, Easter program, concert, praise in the park, or whatever. A foot in the door for them to now, I got this relationship with this person. I want them to come see my church, feel welcomed at my church, get to know the people of my church and feel comfortable around them. And then you can invite them to a church service. Okay? The church that has initiated this program initially is a larger church that I'm working with, and their goal is in 7 years to get 700,000 visitors through the door. Okay, so this is an early church growth cycle process. So you start with that, and then you have the inviting, then you have the come as visitors, and then you have the visitor follow-up, and then you have the convert and the discipleship. So all these processes can be in Finish Line Planner, and everybody can be doing what they need to be doing and remembering what they need to be doing to feed that cycle. So look for the 7x7 relationship building campaign coming out in a couple of months. All right. So let's pause there for a second and see where we have left off. So thank you for that question. I hope you're at least half excited as I am about the 7x7 program, and thank you for sending that in. Okay. Now, you can sign up for Finish Line Planner at finishlineplanner.com, and it's a 90-day trial, so you can try it for 90 days. And at the end of 90 days, then it's $180 a year. Okay, it will always be $180 a year or less. All right. In the future, we will be raising the price to $360 a year. But sign up now for the 90-day trial, and I'll guarantee you the $180 a year price. And if you know anybody else that you think should take advantage of this program, now's the time to do it. FinishLinePlanner.com. Sign up for the 90-day trial. We'll get that hosted event, hopefully working in a day or two for you. And I believe the rest of the plans will work fine for you as well. If you have any, we're a young company, if you have any bugs, please email, text us. We want to know about it. We want to get on top of it and fix it for you. Now, to successfully execute, let me switch screens here. All right. Now, to successfully execute Finish Line Planner, you're going to have to go through stages. Okay. Change is not always welcomed and stuff. Start small. Figure out in your church growth cycle which process you want to start with first. Make a clear goal of what you want from that. Do a little testing trial with it. Just 1 or 2 or 3 people. experiment with how it's working, how the texting system works, and get the bugs out, understand how that process works for you. And then you want to launch it for the larger team, the bigger team, have a kickoff party, and you want to do some training of your own with the texting and how that works and get some practice. And then adoption. The adoption process, the best way for this to work is what we call a stand-up or tag-in meeting. So you want to bring your team together once a week or once every 2 weeks for a 10-minute meeting. And the reason it's called a stand-up meeting is that everybody is standing up. Now let me show you how the stand-up meeting works. This is key to the adoption. Okay. So on the clipboard here, okay, these items that are due today, there are 2 logins. There's the manager login, which usually a pastor or administrator should have, and then there's member login. When a member log in, they can only see their own task. But as a manager login, you can see them all. So I'd bring the team around a computer or a projection screen, depending on how big your group is, and I'd bring up this clipboard. And I would say, Sam Sunday, it looks like you haven't got started, or you got this under control. You're going to be able to get it started. How you doing? Lovely couple. You got the same situation. You're going to get this started today. Okay, you're on top of that. Hey, Joe Outreach, what's this initial call? You're on top of it? Okay. Joe Outreach, the orientation class, if you talk to him about that. Okay, lovely couple. I see that you're 25% done here. Oh, you're 50% done. Okay, let me update it for you. Okay, so you just moved over 50%, and you're going to be able to get it done by the 30th. That's great. Okay, Joe Outreach, the orientation class, you've got a blocked here. What's the issue? Oh, that's the issue? Okay, talk to me after the meeting. When there's an issue, talk to me after the meeting, and we'll get this issue resolved. And Linda Lady, you're halfway done. You was able to talk to the wife but not the husband. Okay, thank you for following through that. Boom, done. That is what we call a stand-up meeting. Now, I did it kind of fast because I'm running out of time. But you stand up 10 minutes, you go over those tasks where everybody's at. If you do that adoption stand-up meeting, people will pick up. People will start being accountable. People will follow through. If they don't know how to respond to the text, they will learn how to respond to the text. And you get your team moving to the next step in adoption. And then there'll be the optimize. Optimize is they'll come back and say, you know, you told me to wait 2 weeks before asking them about Sunday school. I really think I should probably wait 3 weeks. That would get them more exposure, and let's change it to 3 weeks. Okay, so you'll start ironing out that the tasks are not working exactly like maybe we thought they would, and they need to be changed, and need to be added, the dates need to be changed, maybe it needs to be assigned to another person. So that's the optimized stage. And then it's going to be the habit stage, where people are depending on that. And all of a sudden you're going to say, let's do a concert program. They're all going to say, oh, okay, let's put it in Finish Line Planner, and I can do this, you do that. They're going to be on top of understanding what Finish Line Planner is doing for them, and they will want to use Finish Line Planner in more and more processes when you get to that habit level. Okay, back to our slide presentation for a quick roundup. So I've done the demo. We're going to talk a little bit of theory here, and so this is more for the leaders, pastors, and stuff, explaining how Finish Line Planner fits into the growth cycle. There are 3 components to every growing church. There's a spiritual product, there's a culture, and there are systems. Okay, Finish Line Planner helps you with the system component. You still need to drive the spiritual product, the culture, and of course you need to customize those systems. But Finish Line Planner will help you execute those systems. There are 2 types of growth projects in the growth cycle. There are event-based projects. Event-based projects are things that can be put on the calendar. Okay, community outreach, Christmas program, annual planning, training programs, camp meetings, seminars, conferences. These are things you can open up the calendar and say, boom, that's when we're going to do it. And so you can now plan all the steps you need to get ready for that event, plan the steps you need to do in the event, and you can plan the steps after the event. Okay, when you do an event-based project, the date you type in for the plan is the date of the event. So the day of the Christmas program is a date you would type in, okay? And then it'll plan the things before, during, and after in Finish Line Planner. Then the other type of projects are incident-based. You got a new convert, a new contact, a new visitor, a new Bible study, a new volunteer, a birth, a death, an engagement, a retirement. These things are not on the calendar, okay? But they happen in time. And when they do happen, you want to be ready to respond. In this situation, the date that you type in for the plan is the date the event happened, and it will tell you all the tasks you need to do thereafter to follow up. So calendar-based events and incident-based events are the two types of events. Eventually, as you grow in Finish Line Planner, you will want to have an end-to-end growth cycle, from your contacts to your visitors, to your converts, to discipling, to volunteers, to leaders, and reaching more souls. This is a healthy church. All these things are happening. Everybody knows when they need to do, what they need to do. They only need to focus on what they need to do today. Okay? By them doing their one or two, and somebody else doing their one and two, and somebody else doing their one and two task, you will probably have somewhere to 500 to 600 tasks a year being accomplished. And the overall fruit of 600 things systematically being done on time, being done with quality, and a pastor being able to look at it one dashboard and say things are healthy, things are going okay, or they need to be addressed, instead of running around figuring out what's working and what's not working, is huge. Okay, 4 desired attributes of volunteers. Consistency. With Finish Line Planner, they will get the text to, don't forget to follow up on the visitor. Don't forget to follow up on this visitor. Don't forget to follow up on that visitor. It will be consistent. Timely completion. Because of the timing of when you're sending things out, you know they're getting done a month ahead of time, or they're done within 2 weeks after the visitor. Things will be done in a timely way, and the ball won't be dropped. Regular status updates. Because of the ease of the texting messaging system, the pastor is going to know where things are at rather quickly. And it's not complicated things for your volunteers to do. Just text back, task 3 is 50 for 50% done, or 100% for 100% done. And that's huge, just having that little information. And then minimal interruptions. You don't want your volunteers every 5 minutes calling you, what do I do next? What do I do next? How do I do? You want to get rid of that excessive interruptions, right? And just look at the dashboard. Look at the colors, saying, hey, the green stuff is done, the yellow stuff is in progress, and they haven't started the white stuff. And quickly be able to address things, push that aside, go study for your sermon on Sunday, and not be interrupted. So Finish Line Planner is $15 a month, but we do bill annually at $180. Go to finishlineplanner.com to sign up, and the sign up will be on the right there where you fill in your information. You can go to our Insights and Help screen. We have training videos there. We're trying to improve on those to make training a little easier. There's a Getting Started tab, Advanced, and Professional tab for different levels. The Professional tab has like webinars on it for you about church growth. Okay, and we are going to be starting a new consultancy service, and this is to help you. We want to try to understand how we can help you execute Finish Line Planner. Can we help you train one-on-one with your church? I have one church actually going to fly us in for a weekend of training with a monthly meeting, kind of a status meeting about how Finish Line Planner is working and what you can accomplish in the next month, be helpful. And so we are looking for that. If you have any ideas of how we can help you with a consultancy service, you can email me, hugh@finishlineplanner.com. Now, we are only going to take on 4 consulting accounts initially to kind of iron out the service and how we can do it, what it's worth, and how it can be a blessing. So if you want the consultancy service, there will be a charge for that. We're going to try to keep it as affordable and simple as possible. We have some different ideas of how to maintain that cost, and we can share those options with you if you are interested. If you sign up for the 90-day trial, we will be following up with you on this consultancy service and get that feedback from you and see if we can be of help. And if you have any outstanding questions, you can email them to hugh@finishlineplanner.com, or you can text me at 651-894-4681. And let me share that screen with you one more time. Okay. There's the number. You can text me at 651-894-4681. You can call me at that number if you have any questions, or if I can be of help. Again, we apologize for those who went to the original link where we crashed. We will be sending this video out to those that did miss it. And again, we really apologize. That was really embarrassing. But we appreciate you sticking with us, and those that were able to join us live, as well as those watching the recording. Thank you, and have a great day, and God bless you.